The biggest splash in free agency so far for the Chicago Bulls is that they are bringing Patrick Williams back on a 5-year, $90 million contract. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the pros and the cons of bringing Patrick Williams back and what this will mean for the Chicago Bulls moving forward. This is Rico Greenhowe, and this is another episode of Bulls Digest. Before we go ahead and jump into it, I want to let you know that 77.5% of you guys that watch the videos not subscribed to the channel. Make sure you mash that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with the latest news and happenings around your Chicago Bulls. Without further ado, let's jump into the hot topic of the day, which is the Patrick Williams deal good for the Bulls? Alrighty, guys. So depending on who you're talking to, some would say yes and some would say no. Let's start off with the pros of this deal. Okay, so first and foremost, Patrick Williams is a very young player at this point in time, and he's definitely going to fit into the younger rebuild where it looks like the Chicago Bulls have now shown their hand to. Second, he shoots about 40% from downtown. He basically can hit the three ball at this point in time, and that's music to the Chicago Bulls ears because we need some players that can stretch the floor and knock down the three ball. Next, Patrick Williams at times shows that he can be an elite defender. We absolutely need that, especially in light of moving on from Alex Caruso and the fact that he's a younger player at this point in time. Can he channel that energy on a night-to-night basis to be a consistent lockdown defender along with a knockdown shooter? Then that is absolutely going to be the pros. From the financial standpoint, I think that the Chicago Bulls in the long term probably got a good deal, considering that the salary cap is going to go up. And at this point in time, guys, I think that the deal that we're seeing right now is probably going to be an average deal moving forward as the salary cap starts to rise up. So look, if he overperforms on this contract, guys, it's going to look like an absolute steal. So from a financial standpoint, it's tough, but it makes a lot of sense right now for the Chicago Bulls to get the 5 for $90 million. I think some people were thinking that he was going to get more into the 100 mils before, obviously this deal came out. So I think that it works out financially for the Chicago Bulls, probably in the long term of things. So with that being said, guys, those are the pros with Patrick Williams. All right. And so there's a lot of upside in there too. So we can throw that out there. But on the flip side, there has got to be the cons of this thing. And so first, let's start looking at an article that I found here, which has hope, desperation, and Bulls signing of Patrick Williams. I'm also going to add faith. I think that those are the three things that the Chicago Bulls are operating on when they are signing Patrick Williams here. They are hopeful that Patrick Williams is going to become the player that we think he possibly could become, and he's shown flashes to become. The desperation part is you don't want to lose him for absolutely nothing, which is what the Chicago Bulls were going to do. The faith is they showed him money, even though he has been injured and been inconsistent. Those are the three things that the Chicago Bulls are operating on when they are dealing with Patrick Williams. Now, to look at this thing, here are some of the unfortunate downsides of this deal, guys. Look, at $90 million, they would say that this is a lot of money for a guy who's played 213 games in 4 seasons, and he hasn't really progressed, which is absolutely true. He stayed right around 10 points per game and also to the 4 assists. He took a huge hit in his production last season as it ended with surgery after just 43 games here. All right. And so that is the first, I would say downfall in signing Patrick Williams. You're going to see is the injuries. Next is going to be the progressions. Now, as we move forward, guys, this is a bit of a reality check as to why this also is a tough situation for the Chicago Bulls here. All right. Considering that Williams is now making double of what Alex Caruso will make next season and just got an extension that will be bigger than the one Caruso will eventually get. All right. He's very young, but he provides half the production at double the cost. All right, key point there. We got rid of Caruso. We're bringing back Patrick Willams. This is one of the unfortunate things that we're looking at with Patrick Willams. And also, too, it says, look, if he can improve and stay healthy, obviously we're going to win the deal. But this could turn into a really bad situation if we're throwing good money at the bat, which is absolutely true as well, guys. And so, look, that's just to give you a full context of what we're looking at as far as this being a downside with Patrick Willams coming back to the Chicago Bulls. All right, guys. And so, with that being said, this, I also think really, it shows us the direction I think that the Chicago Bulls are going. All right. Because one, I had done a piece yesterday with Zach LaVine, and I talked about that. If you were to try to bring back Zach LaVine, you try to bring back DeRozan, and then you try to bring back Patrick Willams with the roster as constructed, and I didn't throw out the fact that we've moved on from Caruso, you were not going to have a lot of wiggle room, financially, and you were going to start to trickle up towards that luxury, all right? And we didn't want to do that. And so that with the signing of Patrick Willams and with what we're seeing with Zach LaVine, I'm going to say this. Yes, it is possible for Zach LaVine to be traded, but at this point in time, if you're not going to get anything valuable for Zach LaVine, you've signed Patrick Willams, it makes a lot of sense to hold on to Zach LaVine and let him play his value up. That way, if you're going to move on from him, you at least get good assets back and you get a good return back. I'm in agreement that Zach LaVine, when he is playing basketball, he is a very good basketball player. The problem is that Zach LaVine has been injured throughout his career, and not just with the Chicago Bulls, guys. I'm going to state this clearly. Like, when we first got Zach LaVine, he was coming off an injury. Okay, when we first got Zach LaVine, he was coming off an injury. Nobody is saying that Zach LaVine is not a good player. We're not saying that Zach LaVine, his 20 points, his 4-and-4 is not good and it's not beneficial, but it's just like, is it going to help us start to rebuild in the right direction? Are we going to start winning games with his production out there, guys? Because here's another thing that I will say about DeMar DeRozan before we get into a little bit of the finances going forward. Patrick Willams actually played some of his best basketball without LaVine and without DeMar DeRozan on the floor. So now my question is, okay, you're going with the youth movement. You're saying that Zach LaVine fits this. I've just signed Patrick Willams. Can he play alongside of LaVine? And if it doesn't work, then it's going to be a tough situation for me, because now I've got a lot of money tied up into LaVine, and I've got some money that's going to be tied up into Patrick Willams, which that's going to lead us to some more tough questions and decisions moving forward, guys. And so those are some things to really think about as we move on here. So look, this gets us to about the end of this particular portion of the video, which is that, look, we talked about it's either we're going to have DeRozan on the roster and do like kind of a retooling around him, which we know is not going to happen now that we're keeping LaVine and Patrick Willams at this point in time. If that trade information is correct, that was dropped where we couldn't even attach a first round pick to get rid of him. So this means that we're into this part of a rebuild, guys, which is that we're going to have to hold on to LaVine. We're going to have to hold on to Vooch because we're not getting any positive value at this point in time. And we're going to need to let them accumulate big numbers before trying to move them at the 2025 trade deadline. All right. And then the last thing is an extreme teardown, which we could do, which is capitalizing on Dosunmu and Kobe White, who are both going to be up for bigger deals in 2026, guys. All right. And so, just to drive home the point of what I was talking about with the salary cap, this article was done just about 3 days ago, guys, where it is talking about, look, it is clear keeping both LaVine and DeRozan is unlikely. The Bulls don't like to operate above the luxury tax threshold, and resigning DeRozan will put them dangerously close to that mark. Unloading LaVine's $43 million cap hit would be the remedy to that situation. Hence, this situation taking priority ahead of free agency. All right, guys. And so, look, what did we do? We didn't do anything with LaVine. All right. And so I'm just telling you, We have Lonzo Ball on the roster. We have LaVine on the roster. That's perfectly fine. AK is always saying that he wants to be patient and he wants to wait. I'm just saying that's going to cost us a little bit as far as shaping the roster and kind of turning it in the direction that we want to go into, guys. And so with that being said, guys, that is my spill of today. And to be honest with you, my opinion is this. I'm rooting for Patrick Williams, and I hope that he does turn the page. I am going to be pretty disappointed as a Chicago Bulls fan if he is not able to get past 10 points and 4 rebounds. I would think that this would be an incredible success for the Chicago Bulls if you get a Patrick Williams that goes out and averages 15 points a game and about 6 to 8 rebounds a game. I'm loving that. And he's engaged and he's on the floor. That's all I'm asking for. If he can do those things like that, then I think you are getting a bargain. Absolutely. They're going to look back and go, this was an absolute bargain. And kudos for Patrick Williams as well for betting on himself. I think it was reported that there was a 4-year, $64 million offer that the Chicago Bulls initially offered him. And even though he went down with the injury, he still bet on himself. So kudos for P-Dub for doing that, guys. And so I hope that he does get the success. I hope that we do see a version of him running down, catching lobs, locking people up, getting steals, getting deflections, just being an absolute terror, a lot like a Caruso and a Javonte Green, combined together. But I'm just saying, factually, with the way that the numbers are looking, the way that we've seen, the last 3-4 years, whatever, how many more years do the Chicago Bulls need to sign up for to finally get a return or to actually see that this guy is ready to progress? So guys, what do you guys think? Are you in agreement that Patrick Williams was a terrific sign for the Chicago Bulls? Are you okay with the fact that they are going to more than likely hold on to LaVine and Vooch and probably look to move them at the trade deadline? Or maybe the worst case scenario, they're there for the rest of their contracts. Are you all right with that? Let me know in the comments, guys, what you guys are thinking. And look, much like what one of the articles said, guys, as a Chicago Bulls fan, with hope, with desperation, and with faith, I'm saying go Bulls. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.